If you feel like you're doing everything right, but then the moment things start going well, you feel triggered or anxious or pull back, what I'm going to go over in this video might be why. Before we dive in, hi, I'm Mariah. I take confusing manifestation stuff and turn it into real, practical identity work that you can actually do right now to get the lasting changes that you want and sustain them. Now, why work on trauma responses and inner child wounds? Because when you get close to what you want, say that's love, wealth, visibility, or success, it can activate old survival patterns in the body, especially if at some point things were taken away, love didn't feel consistent, or being seen didn't feel safe. Your system learned to protect you, not to sabotage you, but to keep you safe based on what it knew at the time. And sometimes those patterns are so deeply ingrained that they don't just go away with mindset work or positive thinking. In this video, I'm going to walk you through how these patterns formed, why change can feel uncomfortable or even unsafe, and how to start working with your nervous system instead of against it. So, a lot of your identity was formed before you were old enough to consciously choose it. At some point you made a decision, and it was most likely made unconsciously, of who you had to be to feel safe, basically to survive. And most of the time these decisions we make in childhood, maybe that looked like being quiet to avoid conflict, trying to be perfect to receive love, not standing out to avoid judgment, and staying small so as not to make others jealous. Those kinds of things. And those patterns stayed because at one time they worked. So trying to change will most likely feel uncomfortable unless this is addressed. And from my own personal experience, sometimes the idea of changing your life can often feel like you're betraying something. Maybe that's your family, your past, your culture or traditions, or even a younger version of you. And that feeling isn't logical, it's loyal. Because your system is trying to stay connected to what once kept you safe. And at some point, it may have actually kept you safe, which is very touching. But now that you're an adult, it's time to update it. So now we're going to go into the 4 main trauma responses, because when your system senses potential danger, it goes into protection mode. And here are the 4 main ways that it does that. Fight is when your system moves into protection through control, aggression, or intensity. So you might notice irritability or anger, needing to control, quick reactions, or even defensiveness. So in simple terms, it's basically your body trying to push danger away. And this used to be me. Like, I would just constantly be busy or trying to figure things out instead of just allowing things to just be okay. Or I would just overwork myself and always need to be in control all the time. Not in a controlling, bossy way, but sort of in a, if I'm not in control, something's going to go wrong kind of way. So, yeah. So to regulate this, you might try pausing before responding so that this helps you to not go to the default instant reaction pattern. You could also try slowing your breathing or moving your body, like going on a walk or shaking out some tension, or even just giving yourself some space. So this is teaching your body, I don't need to fight to be safe anymore. So flight is when your system tries to escape, whether physically or mentally. So you might notice overthinking or anxiety, possibly staying busy or distracted all the time, but could be perfectionism, restlessness, or just avoidance. In simple terms, your body is trying to outrun discomfort. So to regulate this, some things you can try could be grounding yourself in the present moment. What do you hear? What do you see? What do you feel? Slowing your breathing down. Gently reminding yourself that you are safe here and now, especially when there's nothing going wrong. And allowing things to be just as they are without trying to run from them. And we're not doing this by forcing. We're just trying to return to the present. And I was actually the perfectionist of perfectionists, and it was just driving me insane because I would start things, but I'd never finish them because they had to be perfect. And on top of that, I was super anxious about the future or any minor problem. I would just worry about it. But then I just reminded myself that, hey, if there's nothing I can do about it right this second, try not to worry about it. And it's difficult to do in the beginning, but you do eventually get the hang of it. Like, hey, I can't do anything about it right now. Try not to worry about it. And once I regulated this part of myself, it became so much easier to just slow down and just be here. So freeze is when your system shuts things down to protect you. This is the shutdown response. So with this one, you might notice feeling stuck or numb, a lot of indecision, low energy, or maybe disconnection or wanting to isolate. In simple terms, This is your body pausing to protect you. So to regulate this, you might try starting with very small movements like walking or stretching. Maybe reconnecting with your physical senses, being gentle with yourself. You could also start by practicing making small decisions that are low pressure, that are not urgent. And this isn't laziness. This is just you now consciously soothing yourself and telling your system that you're okay now. And I used to be stuck in indecisionville, and that was frustrating because I would just sit and do pretty much nothing because I couldn't decide on anything. And on top of that, I had perfectionism, so you can bet it was very difficult being me at times until I regulated this part of myself. Now, fawn is when your system keeps you safe by pleasing others. It's protection through making sure others are okay first. So with this one, you might notice people pleasing, difficulty saying no, weak boundaries or difficulty setting boundaries, or also prioritizing others over yourself. In simple terms, it's your body trying to stay safe through connection. I used to say yes to things I didn't even want to do to avoid discomfort or disappointing somebody, but then I would feel drained and unhappy afterward. I was like the yes man of yes men, and I was such a people pleaser to the point where I would drop everything to make sure their needs were met before my own. And while being helpful is wonderful and great, making everyone else the priority in your life and neglecting your own needs and your own boundaries, that is not great. So to regulate this, you might try checking in with your own needs, practicing setting small boundaries, reminding yourself that it's actually okay and safe to take up space, and slowly practicing respecting your own limits and boundaries. And I noticed all of these responses within myself at different times, and it was to the point when things were starting to go well, I would just overthink or I'd pull back for no reason. And I didn't realize in those moments it was just my nervous system trying to protect me. I thought there was something wrong with me. All of these responses are intelligent survival strategies. They helped you survive. But now you're teaching your system it's safe enough to respond differently, not default to old reaction patterns. Alongside these responses, many of us also carry inner child wounds. These are emotional patterns that formed early in life that still influence how we think, feel, and relate today. They often show up in our adult relationships, behaviors, and self-image. We all develop these early in life to cope, so the goal is not to judge them, it's to recognize them and gently update them. So the abandonment wound is the fear of being left, rejected, or not chosen. It's basically the fear of not being enough. So you might notice fear of being alone, over-attachment or codependency, attracting emotionally unavailable partners, or feeling like you have to earn or keep love. And the core belief here is, if I'm not enough, I will be left. And I personally used to feel this way a lot. I would always try to keep someone's interest so that they wouldn't leave me. I hated being single. I would attract people who were emotionally unavailable. So now that I've healed that part of me, I no longer chase the wrong people just to try to earn love or connection. So to begin healing this, you can build safety within yourself first. Remind yourself you're not being abandoned or left right now. You can create safer inner dialogue or more reassuring self-talk like, I am here for me, I am more than enough, that kind of stuff. And practice healthy connection and independence. So the identity shift here is basically, I am chosen and I am safe even when I'm alone. The trust wound is the fear that people, life, or even you yourself are not safe to rely on. It's basically the fear that people or life just aren't safe. So with this, you might notice difficulty trusting others or even yourself, overthinking decisions, needing reassurance or constant validation, or expecting disappointment or betrayal. And the core belief here is, if I trust, I'll get hurt. I was so pessimistic earlier in life, and I didn't even realize it had something to do with this trust wound. So I would just go around expecting disappointment or expecting betrayal because I couldn't trust people to keep their word when they gave it. Now that this part of me is healed, not only do I choose who I allow in my life, and they're a lot more aligned with me, but I can trust that they're going to keep their word. And the best part is, even if they fall short, even if they don't keep their word, I don't immediately have that thought, look, you're right, I can't trust people. So to begin healing this, you can start with trusting yourself with small decisions, start building more trust with safe, consistent people, challenge worst case scenario thinking, and remind yourself that not everyone in the present is going to do the same things that the people in your past did. And the identity shift here is, I trust myself and I choose who I allow in. Now, the guilt or shame wound is the belief that there is something wrong with you or that your needs are too much. So with this, you might notice over-apologizing or over-explaining when it's not necessary, feeling like a burden, self-criticism, and difficulty with boundaries or even setting boundaries. Because the core belief with this one is, if I take up space, I'm wrong. So to begin healing this, you can practice self-compassion instead of self-criticism. You can start challenging the negative self-talk or inner dialogue, actually allow yourself to have needs and feel that they're worthy of being met, and start setting small, safe boundaries. Because the identity shift with this one is, I'm allowed to exist, have needs, and have my needs be met. Now, the neglect wound comes from feeling unseen, unheard, or emotionally unsupported. So with this one, you might notice low self-worth, suppressing your emotions, difficulty expressing your needs, or attracting people who don't fully see you or value you. And the core belief with this one is, I don't matter, or I don't matter enough to be noticed. So to begin healing this, you can reconnect with your emotions and your needs, express yourself in small ways or validate yourself, and surround yourself with people who actually value and appreciate you. And the identity shift here is, I matter and I am worthy of being seen, heard, and supported. So these wounds are not who you are. They're just patterns that you learned. And once you become aware of them, you can begin to choose differently, respond differently, and create a new internal sense of safety. And this is where nervous system regulation is very powerful. Because when your body feels safe, these patterns will start to loosen naturally. So here are some tools that help signal safety to your system. And I know these sound simple, but these are actually what I use to get myself out of constant fight or flight. Journaling. This helps to move thoughts out of your head and into your awareness. Writing down thoughts and feelings can help to process emotions and identify patterns of negative thinking or self-talk. Also, writing down what you are grateful for each day, even if it's just the sunshine, will, over time, help you feel more positive. Voice notes. These can help you release without the pressure to be perfect. They can help with getting all of your thoughts out, and the beauty of it is you can delete it after if you want to. Hand on chest or self-touch. This signals safety through the body. The emotional freedom technique, or EFT tapping. This can also help regulate your system. It's a form of therapy that involves tapping on specific points on the body while focusing on emotions and thoughts. It is based on the idea that tapping on these points can help release emotional and physical tension and promote healing. EFT is often used to treat anxiety, trauma, and other emotional issues. If nothing else, it helps ground you in the present moment by focusing on the physical movement of tapping and focused awareness, which can help reduce stress responses and emotional intensity. There are many guided resources online as to the best practices on how to do this if you want to explore it. Go on a walk, especially in the sunshine or in nature. Practice stillness like breath work or mindfulness. Meditation can also help, making time to quiet your mind. The nothing is wrong right now technique, like I mentioned in my video on the basics of nervous system regulation, this is where you tell yourself you are okay right now and safe, because it's actually true. Nothing is wrong right now. Pause and remind yourself, I am safe right now. It's simple and powerful because in most moments it's actually true. And some other tools you might find helpful are looking around the room and naming 5 objects, orienting yourself to your current surroundings, yoga or moving your body in a calm, relaxed way, watching something funny or comforting, or even listening to calming or uplifting music. Cold water actually helps reset your system quickly as well. Grounding your feet can help you come back to the present moment. Anything that helps you come back to the present moment to be as calm and relaxed as possible. So what I would do if I had to regulate my system over again, I would probably take small steps, like speak up when it feels safe, set a boundary when I feel like I'm not being respected, take time for myself and remind myself that I'm not being lazy, journal with the intention of getting the things out of my head, not just to trauma dump. And another big one is pausing before reacting so that I can consciously work on breaking those old response patterns. Personally, the biggest thing that helped me was realizing that my traumas and my negative experiences are not me. They're things that happened to me, but they're not who I am. So therefore, I do not need to be defined by them. And once I calmed my system down, it was a lot easier to detach myself from my traumas and my negative experiences and start to choose to respond differently in the present and not default to those old response patterns from my past. And also a gentle disclaimer, I'm not giving any mental, medical, or psychological advice. I'm simply just sharing what has worked for me over the years. And please seek professional help if you feel you need to. So all this is to say, you're not broken. Your system just learned how to protect you with what it knew at the time. And now you're just teaching it something new. And when your system and your body feels safe, you'll naturally no longer have to force change, because now you'll automatically respond differently, choose differently, and show up differently. And that's where real lasting change happens, not through force, but through safety. And once I started doing the things that I shared with you in this video, I noticed that I no longer reacted the same way as I used to, and the things that used to trigger me then started to feel neutral, which was such a relief, especially when it regarded my desires. If you haven't watched my video on finding the hidden internal rule that is quietly blocking your desires, that is the next step. Because once your system feels safe, it's easier to start digging down deep to find the real blocks between you and your desires. If you found this video helpful, please consider liking it and subscribing to my channel where I share a lot more on this topic. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.